Hi everybody, my name is Innocent, and we're going to keep on with the next part, that is the tail. And as we keep on, please share, subscribe, like, and comment. For your comments are very meaningful for me, and actually keep in touch. Me keeping in touch with you guys. And um, about the tail, we have this tail. That is the tail is of a bird is actually covered with the two types of tail covert feathers, which are namely just the crisp and the upper tail covert. And the crisp, this is undertail feather. This or the undertail feather are uniquely colored in some species, and the upper tail covert, just the rump. Yeah, it's the rump feathers, and there are some types of the radices based on the length of radices. Um, these types are like the square, the rounded, the graduated, pointed, emergent, and the forked. Now, when we start with the square tail, I mean the square. Of course, there are square tails, but there's this type is just the square. All these in this the all the radices have the same length, and so the end of the tail is just flattened. And a good example is for the horned lark, and for yes the rounded, the radices are shortened slightly toward the outside. And a good example for the J could be seen to the J's. And the graduated radices shorten abruptly from the distal part to the proximal part. And a good example could be seen just to the from greater roadrunner. And for the pointed or the acute, the middle radices are much more longer than the other. And a good example could be seen from the pheasants. And the emergent mainly the radices increase slightly in length from the middle part to the outermost pair. This gives the tail the notch appearance. The good example could be seen from the tree swallow. And for the forked, increase abruptly. The radices increase abruptly in length from the middle to the outermost pair. And a good example is a turn. From a turn, you could observe this type of a tail, of a tail radice. And as we have already discussed that, here are just some of those structures that we've discussed. Here is a square tail, rounded, graduated, that's the pointed, emergent, forked. As you could see, then the forked is increasing abruptly just to the outside. The emergent is just slightly, and for the pointed, the mid radices are the longest. The graduated, they are all gradually just increasing in size. And for the rounded, the mid ones are the longest, but they are going outside, they're just slightly decreasing in length. And for the square tail, they're almost of the same size. Now, when you keep on with this, we go down to the topography of the feet and the toes. For the feet, we have several types of feet types and toes, and this give main description of the birds groups. May be used to group the birds. This is among the topographical features that are used, or external features that are used to group birds, and it being the feet. Now, there are several types depending on the arrangement of the toes, and particularly the function of the feet that they perform. Here are some of them, and as I said, you should know that this feature is used to subject the variations among the bird groups. And starting with the ansodactylus from our list, for the ansodactyla, the helix is behind, while the other three are just in the front, facing forward. So you have the first finger or the thumb just pointing backwards, and the other three fingers pointing forward. And the syndactyla, the third and fourth toe, or the outer and the middle, are basically united at the most of their part, but at the extremities they come and separate. And a good example is the kingfisher. For the zygodactyla, their toes are arranged in pairs. That is, as we know, this the meaning of a zygote. And the second and the third toes are in front, and the fourth and the hallux, or the fourth and the first, are facing behind. And a good example is a woodpecker. And for the pampodactyla, all four toes are in front, and the hallux is also turned in the front. And a good example is a swift, and this is not favorable for the perching birds. For the raptorials, the toes are deeply cleft and with large, strong, sharply curved nail. And a good example are from the birds of prey, the raptors. And semi-palmate. For the semi-palmate, the toes are joined partially just by a small webbing. And a good example could be seen in the sandpipers and the plovers. Totipalmate, if we seen the semi-palmate and topography, they will be just those with all four toes covered with a ample web. And a good example is a pelican. And for the palmate, the four toes are united by an ample web, which is in most swimming birds. And a good example are geese and ducks. And lobate, swimming foot with series of lateral lobes on their toes. Sometimes just the foot may be palmate, but the hallux may be lobed. And a good example would be the grebes, coot, and phalaropes. And for all that we've been discussing, this is Ansodactyla. You can see the hallux is facing behind, and the three are facing forward. And for the Sandactyla, just like the Ansodactyla, but right here we can see the third and the fourth digit are mainly fused at the beginning, and at the end they separate. And for the Zygodactyla, the fourth and the first facing behind, the third and the second facing forward. And for the Pampodactyla, all the four toes are just facing forward, which is not favorable for the perching birds, as I said. And for the Heterodactyla, the trogon, here the third and fourth are facing forward, and the first and second are facing backward. And here is what we were talking about when we were talking about the palmate. Here is the palmate, that the three are mainly joined with an ample, and for the totipalmate, all the four are joined, mainly covered with an ample. And for semi-palmate, they are just partially covered with an ample, with the web. And this is what we're meaning of the lobate. These are for the swimming birds, and actually they've got these lateral lobes covering them. Now after that, I think we have gone enough. We'll see each other next time for the skeletal system.